Misfortune has been a favorite of Guma's.
Yeah, I think Misfortune Rel actually is very powerful. But a Seraphine is going to be locked in first. It could be Ashe Seraphine.
Yeah, that was the other pick
HLE.
that I had concerns about if you're going to play the Kalista lane. So now they have this Seraphine Ashe for if it were to be a Kalista lane that makes it a little bit tougher to play through. Because I think that's, in my mind, if I'm D+ brained, I feel like that's one of the best lane options they had here, and now it feels kind of awful to play into, because you know it's coming. It's Gumayushi, World's Finals MVP. Oh, no. It could be 80 carry Seraphine, I guess, as well, but...
Mel Pike might be what they're angling for here.
I look at this draft for D+, and it just makes me confused about what they're trying to do.
Yeah, well, I think they're trying to play Mel Pike in the bottom lane. I just haven't really seen that one win for a while. I think they're trying to cycle back the patches, Wolf. That's what it's looking like to me. This has worked in the past.
I mean, Mel's good into Ashe, kind of, I guess. Good into Seraphine, can reflect the ultimate.
Yep, there is that at least. And with a Shen, you can now play through side lanes very effectively. And so that is what Korea is going to do. But this is kind of what they were staring down the barrel of, the Ashe Seraphine. And Gumayushi...
It's Guma. He's like, you all knew.
Yeah, on utility picks, right? Like that is... Lucid can get to that level 6 and really impact the map with these Cyclones. Get into the Rift game 2.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the second game of this series. Korea already dashing out of the way of these volleys, as Delight and Guma are just going to have so much control of this bottom lane. It is absolutely absurd.
Lethal tempo, Airy. He has the cleanse. So Career looking for an all-in to try to set up a snare for Smash. Will be cleansed if he tries to go for it. They'll take so much damage on the trade. And this is the thing about Mage bottom lanes. They just don't do consistent damage. They press their button and then they run away.
Now it's a nice double taunt here for Career at least, utilizing his Aftershock in order to stay alive. But you were talking about it, consistent damage is going to be the aim of the game here. Even Seraphine's going to do a lot more because, of course, it's a melee support that they're up against. So let's see how Korea and Smash can just kind of mitigate the extra advantage that HLE does have down here.
Let's trade heals to keep the tempo up. And Guma's just going to try to carefully push this wave in and keep Smash at arm's length. Smash went for the Q start, of course, to try to poke in return. And once he gets his root, you know, they can try to play through a taunt play. But like I said, Guma has his cleanse at the ready.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that it's a Wukong, right? So you're not really worried about early ganks either. So Smash now just trying to use his buttons to also get some harass down. It means that a lot of these minions are going to be going to the wayside, and we can see already more than a 10 CS lead for Gumayushi.
Delight's Q is basically also a Mel Q. He's like, yeah, I'm also doing that, and we have an 80 carry, so good luck.
It is early days, and this is a composition that can... I mean, Victor does a lot of damage, and pretty consistent damage as well with the Arcane Storm once like, that is up.
The Yorick isn't online. If you take a peek at the top side of the map, you'll be like, ooh, that doesn't look so good for the Yorick. But if you take a look at the bottom of your screen now, you're like, well, this looks pretty good for Yorick, actually. Yep. He's doing pretty well. She is 4 and 6 on the Jace on the other side, so not as much success for him. Level 3 gets reached here. They're trying to look for a play.
Playing very aggressively with their Wukong here towards the bottom side of the map. Not quite close to this play, but you can see Smash and Korea happy to walk forward, understanding that they have that flash advantage, and Delight, without the heal, or the flash is pretty vulnerable.
Gumayushi and Delight kind of conceding this lane, knowing that Kanavi is on the top side of the map, playing very defensively, knowing there's a strong chance Lucid's here. Now with the Scuttle secured, they know for sure he is here.
Is this dive even possible, ladies and gentlemen? That is my question, as Lucid's going to come in and see. There is the taunt immediately. A lot of burst damage, and First Blood does go over to Smash. Korea will be traded, though. And so one for the Mel, one for the Ashe, but a little bit of extra money based on the First Blood over to DK.
I don't think this lane could be going better for Smash and Career. In this matchup with the Wukong, they set it up, they play it well, they have that extra burst, they have the execute to come through, so Smash secures the kill. It's First Blood, Gumi gets one back, but this is exactly where you want to be. You want to be accelerated. If you can set it up, like it makes the lane for the rest of this laning phase so much easier. They just go all in onto the squishy support here. Guma gets the instant chase here onto Career to make sure that he can secure that kill.
Yeah, and Korea actually holds onto the flash as well. So might have actually had a bit of a chance to try and walk his way out, but instead didn't want to trust that Kanavi was on the top side of the map.
His flash taunt is his bread and butter in this one, so he really wants to keep that. And I think might have been able to waste some time at least there if he had used it, but I like his decision in this game, in this early laning phase.
Yep. And now Lucid is moving on over to see whether he can test these Raptors. Showmaker now walking on a dissonance. Kanavi taking a lot of damage from this Wukong though. And Lucid doing a lot of work here. Nice Death Ray is going to connect as well here from Showmaker, and maybe they're going to be able to go in for this one. Flash out from Kanavi, and Lucid holds on to here. So a lot of Summoner Spell advantages as Korea walks up and just hits Gumayusi underneath the turret. That was brave.
That was some Lehen's energy right there.
Yeah, I liked it.
Leshen's moment coming through. Lucid's just like, oh, I know you, Kanavi. You're just going to greed for the wolves. Kanavi's getting some of those wolves over the wall. But Lucid is going to be able to push him out of his jungle a little bit here and make Zeka feel super uncomfortable in his lane.
Yeah, and might even be able to take the Gromp as well. And yeah, actually does cancel that back. Moves on over to the Gromp to steal that one away. So a bit of an advantage here going to be built up for the Wukong.
Which is really important for getting a Wukong to level 6.
Yep.
You know, just getting that as fast as possible, having a little bit of extra camp clear can be all the difference that you need to have a faster relevance. Wow, old. The Q's a little short, but
yeah, he's like, man, my dissonance just out of range. Just all ultimate, it'll be fine.
Big dissonance coming through.
Yeah, you can just upgrade it. Command attack is mini dissonance, and dissonance is dissonance, and then you've got big dissonance. All right, dissonance has lost all meaning. Not that I knew what it meant beforehand.
Dissonance protect. Was
the other one. Shieldy dissonance. Okay, Kanavi is going to be able to grab this Rift Scuttler. Looking for his level 5. We'll be able to get it finally off the back of that one.
Lucid's clearing his camps right now on his side of the map. We'll get his Gromp, we'll have his Wolves, and then be very close to level 6. So we'll actually be very relevant in this game quickly here.
Yep.
After that successful gank.
Smash looking a little worse for wear, as you can see. Does rebut a high note here from Delight, but Gumayusi is very healthy as he walks towards the enemy bottom lane. And Kanavi going to start off this dragon. We'll just dive over the back of the pit, and I think he should just be able to take this with Lucid towards the top side of the map. Not a whole lot of options here.
Smash doesn't have TP, so backing with a big wave coming through, not going to feel great. Already super far behind in CS, as you'd expect, even with that trade of kills earlier on in this game. Hasn't been able to right the ship just yet. Career could try to hold some of this, which it looks like he will be doing. And the Wukong got 6, but went topside, so nowhere to really necessarily impact here, especially with the vision control that Kanavi, or rather that Zeus is set up. And Kanavi is able to track where he is as a result of that. If he does go up there, they grab the first dragon, and this Wukong level 6 that I was really talking so much about just doesn't really hit, even though he had flash for a potential play. You know, doesn't have a great target. Looking for maybe Zeka here now.
Yeah, I think probably going to be going for the grubs when they are up, as the Arcane Storm does go down. Showmaker doesn't have the gravity field, but Lucid is just going to get that flash out of Zeka and make sure that they have a return gank opportunity. The arrow is glorious as it sails by and almost hits Shiu. That was an almost hit onto 4 people. And that you can almost say that that counts as a hit.
Yeah, I mean, it forced a reaction.
There you go. But not quite able to start up anything. I do really like opportunistic arrows.
Yeah.
As Smash is going to walk towards Gumayusi here. Let's see whether the buttons do land. He's throwing out autos. Now the flash to make sure that he gets that snare as the ulti comes in. He needed a little bit more, though. And not going to be able to kill Guma, but does get both of his summoners.
I think one more auto probably would have been enough to get the execute threshold there.
Feels like he got to the threshold, but wasn't able to get there based on the flash.
Crazy how he played that. As Lucid still has his flash. Didn't flash for the kill on Zeka. Happy to get his flash in return. So a follow-up could be very strong here. Showmaker, though, without ultimate, still an early game Vic, doesn't do that much damage. They are really walking a tightrope here for control of the entrance to this river before we see a Grubs fight.
Yeah.
Smash doesn't have TP. If he did, he could actually really alter the course of this topside fight. He's going to walk over anyways. Guma went back to the lane he's showing there. So Smash is going to come here now. If Smash fights this, and has time to TP back to lane, he might lose nothing for it. So I actually like this call since his TP is so close to coming back up. He is running over right now, and they have control of the entryway here. They got Flash and Cyclone, and Kanavi just lost his jump, so they're in a really good spot to secure these Grubs now.
Yeah, it looks like it will be an opportunity, and a Jace with Grubs feels fantastic, denying the Grubs from a Yark as well. Pretty good here for DPLUS if they are able to lock this one down. You do see Zeus moving on in, but with all of this control of the mid lane that Showmaker's been able to garner, I don't know whether this is going to be a winning play, but Kanavi and Delight are now moving over. And the Mel is back in the bottom lane. That is a glorious encore, but the taunt is even better. Delight going down so incredibly low as there is the decoy, and down goes the Seraphine. Showmaker now with the stance united, but Kanavi's on top of him, and the Wukong goes down as well. Xiu flashes into the wall, and HLE will dominate the fight and lock down the rest of these grubs.
DPLUS just biting off way more than they could chew there. They had Smash with TP. He could have come over earlier to that fight, but he opted not to do it. And he walked down, so he still had TP. You guys can see it on the map. Now, this was a near steal by Zeus, which forces Lucid to smite. He doesn't get hit by the Encore, so the Cyclone follow-up here after the taunt is huge. But it's early game victor. Like we mentioned, Xiu isn't here in time, and there is no Mel TP. There is no answer here. The Shen attempting to save Showmaker, I think, was probably not the call. And yeah, this flash, like you mentioned, the play-by-play left a lot to be desired there. And DPLUS fumble what could have been a great team fight. And now Smash, he's still got his TP, but I don't think he's going to have his life if he gets rooted here.
Yeah, the beat drop is going to come on through. At least he has the rebuttal in order to walk past Delight and Gumayusi. Won't have that one for the next few seconds. There is item number 1 here for Kanavi. Lucid still waiting for that Trinity Force, which is quite a ways away. Still needing the Sheen on top of the completion for that one. So I think DPLUS' composition is not just going to fall off a cliff or anything like that. I think that the Victor still will do a lot of damage. Mel in the late game is going to be very scary. But if HLE still finds these fights, it's okay.
No cleanse on Guma.
Now there's going to be the option as Smash is able to lock one down. Gumayusi now trying to fire some damage back, but capitalizing on the lack of flash here for Delight. And Kanavi now looking to try and kill Lucid. And Zeka comes on in. You can see Career here just to try and back them up, and that is Smash walking headfirst into an arrow. He's just dead. Zeka grabs another one, and he is on a killing spree now on this Orianna and takes a 4th, as unfortunately the Wukong just walks into the big dissonance.
Yeah, Career here, he's got...
Okay, that's 5.
Yeah. I was going to say he's got no sums.
Yeah.
So initially,
either.
they spent the play here onto this Seraphine. Guma doesn't have cleanse, but Delight's the one who's the targetable one. He's the one who's in range. And yes, they get him the kill here, but look at the rotation. Look at the minimap here. Guma's like, all right, well, now you don't have the buttons to get to me. Puts a ton of damage into Career. Then Lucid just eats a ton of damage. He's not playing in the bottom lane at all here. And I think there's just a miscommunication on the prio. Like, Zeka's coming over here. You've got to respond. Big dissonance. Gonna take him out there. The R variant, pretty good. And then he also just serves Career up. Kanavi does on a silver platter for another one.
Well, now you got Kanavi coming on over to try and punish Smash as well, who did do a lot of damage to Gumayusi. Does still have the ultimate up and available. Good snare there from Smash. Kanavi is still so dangerous and is able to just to take him down. It's a solo kill, actually. Guma didn't even hit him with anything.
Not only is Mel, you know, an immobile mage, but all mages right now in this meta, outside of Ziggs, which has the satchel, are pretty easy to collapse on. If you fall behind, if you don't have flash, you just get repeat ganked, and you can't even farm. And now he was ahead on gold just slightly. It was about 100 gold ahead. Dies a second time here, and this is going to be the dragon, double dragon for HLE. And so much free money for Gumayusi, as all of this farm is going to be lost here. Yes, it's a cannon wave. Yes, he'll get some of it, but man, the HLE are running away with this game right now. And it looked like after some of the early plays, some of the opportunities DPLUS had, maybe they could actually make this Mel draft work. But after the failed fight on the Grubs and then the disastrous all-in on the bottom side, it starts to feel like HLE are really running away at such a high speed. I don't know if DPLUS will ever really catch them.
Well, now you've got the Stance United coming towards the top side of the map. Zeus should be going down as Xiu does manage to at least find a little bit of value here in this top lane. Finally, the Shen able to affect side lanes as well. Maybe a little bit of a sign of life here for DPLUS.
This is the damage that goes on to Guma, but he just runs after him. And unfortunately, didn't have information that Kanavi was here. So watch Kanavi's first-person view. Still gets rooted, but gets close enough to do the damage that it doesn't matter.
And yeah, even he died before the volley could actually connect. And so there is nothing. Okay, that is a dead Jace in the top lane. We're going to see the Jace get a kill first. here in the replay.
And then let's see him get a death.
Yeah.
I think he might have gotten hit by that big ball again.
The big dissonance, man, it is so problematic. It's okay. Now Kanavi's in a lot of trouble. The Cyclone is in, but he gets the big heal. Still the flash is too good. No encore. This time to save the doggo. And Lucid will be able to get himself out of the way. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit scrappy.
Yeah. This is a very awkward top side right now. I mean, look, the ult there to kill Shiu is fine. We'll watch it now, I guess. But it doesn't mean you don't have it for the follow-up fight. Speeds up.
Okay.
And then...
Small dissonance, big dissonance, dissonance.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dissonance, Wolf.
Yeah, I was kind of dissing him.
Yeah.
In this fight, Kanavi goes in and uses his jump early. And Wukong also pretty good into the Fury because he could just keep cycloning after the jump goes off. But they get a nice catch there, a nice punish. A lot of tension up there on that top side, but again, game state here pretty good for HLE because his Orianna is just so huge. They're looking to punish Delight, but Zeus is going to come over here. They get a TP out. It's a double TP here for Showmaker coming in as well.
Let's see what they can actually do. This Delight takes a fair bit of damage. Looks like DPLUS are just going to back away as the Rift Herald has been started here by Kanavi. And I think the DPLUS are going to feel like they're priced into making something happen because they just lose this objective for free. They're going to lose this top lane turret as well. And HLE, I mean, they've got enough to defend. Okay, let's see. The Maiden is what they've decided to fight, but Shiu, I don't even think he's winning that battle necessarily.
Okay, this is desperation for DPLUS. Like, they couldn't make it work. They're still kind of hanging around trying to make it work. They're losing their mid turret. Zeka's getting more plates topside.
Yeah,
where's the macro?
Turret. This is ludicrous. Okay, Kanavi not going to be able to take his Raptors. There's the macro. Wolf, he took the Raptor camp. Absolutely nailed it. Zeus just hanging out here towards his bottom side. And this is what happens. If you can play the good defense, then you just get so much free tempo on the map.
And that failed dive on the cross, it was so slow, and it just didn't look like it was really going to have much of a chance of working at all, but that's Showmaker committing his TP. You can't back out of that. Okay, Zeus might actually be in trouble this time, though.
Yeah, Arcane Storm does come down. Kanavi is in the area as the Ghoulie Wall comes through. There's a phenomenal arrow, as Lucid should be able to take this one. Great interrupt, as there's the double Cyclone. Smash comes over, and even with the arrow, it is still DPLUS finding the play. Is the revenge for Shiu as he finds the solo.
What is happening? There's the Shiu chance come through. This should be 2 turrets in return. In the blink of an eye.
Yeah, wait, hang on. Are they just going to have...
Careers here?
They're going to be... they'll have a gold lead. They won't have a dragon lead, so there's at least that. Showmaker's going to come on over. This turret is somehow still alive.
Okay.
Bottom lane outer does fall.
I want to see what happened in the Jace fight, as he still has his flash. I'm not entirely sure how that all went down.
I think he avoided the dissonances, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good clue we might be able to ascertain here. So in this play, you're staying for way too long, and they try to force this. The arrow is very slick, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. But what happens next is they still...
Oh, man, the double value Cyclone.
Yeah, it's... I mean, they're feeding money back over here to the carries.
이거 길게 하면 우리 텔린다.
Oh, he just jumped on top of him. And he even got hit by big dissonance.
Yeah, he did, but he was already on top of him. Yeah, he was planning on TPing in, and then he just walked into Orianna and then killed her.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, now, HLE looking for Soul Point. It's an Ocean Soul. It's not exactly the greatest one, but I think that DPLUS still want to try and stop this if they can.
Orianna ball placement here going to be pretty huge on denying access into this pit.
Okay, that's just going to be Soul Point over to HLE. DPLUS unable to make that one happen. Good sidestep from Shiu to avoid the arrow. Shock Blast, I mean, with a composition like this, I mean, Shock Blast has a lot of value, except if used against Zeus.
Yeah, that's, there you go. That's a good value, or a good explanation.
Yeah.
Any jump scares?
Ah! Yes. Navi does get one of those, but the Krugs just going to go down, and no one's going to die just yet. Shiu is going to be able to lock down this blue buff, and will be able to make his way out.
They are up against the Ocean Soul if this is secured by HLE, but it is an Ocean Soul. I think the scarier aspect of this game is I think they need a little bit more time here. They don't want to fight for Elder after that. If they could just get one dragon and buy some space to actually be stronger for an upcoming fight, it would be so massive for them. I mean, there's still an extra 5 minutes before that Elder is going to spawn. They'll have to farm out their carries who do have relevant gold in this game. And I mean, when you look at the control of the map that DPLUS garnered right in mid on the bottom side there, they can't turn it into anything right now, but they are just farming. They're just free farming at the moment. And Guma is on 2 items, right? You have this fed Orianna, but it means less and less if you don't hit your buttons or if your ult doesn't go off, if you're still getting solo killed in sides by a fed Jace. So that's another angle here for DPLUS. DPLUS can play sides, they can play slow. They have a lot of really different options they can play through here for the rest of this game. The key is just not walking into a bad fight. The key is to just not fight for this Ocean Soul if they don't have enough prio for it and lose the game right there.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to give that up. They have to be willing to contest for Baron, but don't want to start it.
Lucid going to be daggered momentarily, not going to eat the bleed. Zeka is looking to knock down this Crystalline Overgrowth and should be this outer turret falling. There is another push happening on this top side of the map, though. You can see Showmaker is going to push this wave towards the inner turret. Zeus going to catch it. And DPLUS, in the end, just kind of losing out a turret. They have so much vision, though. I mean, DPLUS, they sacrifice bot outer in order to just light up the topside river like a Christmas tree. And at 20 minutes, does make a bit of sense, but I don't think they're taking a Baron anytime soon. So more defensive here to stop HLE from getting over there and making it happen.
Yeah. Kanavi coming over here, just trying to clear out some vision, push Lucid away. The key is to make sure they have vision on Baron so then they can keep their focus on the prio for this dragon. That's the only way with DPLUS's defensive posture here that HLE can further their lead is to get that soul. And so they're doing their due diligence to make sure both sides of the map are controlled by them. Vision first.
Ooh. Nice attempt. That does just pick the gap between...
This is scary for DPLUS.
Yeah, HLE moving on forward.
That Ashe flow starts coming through. It's hard to opt out of a fight. Showmaker does have TP. He's alone on the side right now, and they will need his help if they are going to fight right now. We're still 2 minutes away from the dragon, though, so...
Yeah, it's a bit of a question of what are we fighting for, and the scuttle was what we were fighting for prior to this. And Showmaker does manage to get that wave shoved, trying to eat through this huge deficit that he finds himself in. Not exactly too far behind in farm, but... the money is still there. It's 6 kills on this Orianna. And Zeka is very, very scary. It's a dash cannon done, though, for this Victor. And he is getting more and more put together here. 96 stacks right now. Upgrading all of his stuff as best he can.
This is one of the rare games where I feel like DPLUS have been able to stabilize like mentally in a game 2 like this. They were ahead at times in this game, but have lost a lot of control. The Orianna is super big, but they're just not... They know that HLE's comp is better at fighting right now, and they're going to opt out of fights. They're keeping Showmaker in sides with TP. They're like, oh, Kanavi going into the jungle? We'll give it all up. We'll back away. We keep farming. And there's no dragon up. 50 more seconds on it. And now that we're getting close to that dragon timer, they're hanging around. They're trying to clear some of that vision. There's actually a lot of great vision here for HLE to see a potential approach here for DPLUS. But I think DPLUS are not going to take a fight they don't like. I mean, that's what they have to do in this game, is to just, I think, give this up if there's a fight situation that looks really bad. But right now they have a lot of prio, they have a lot of control. We have both mid laners with TP. Showmaker's here already. Zeka's going to have to TP in.
I think it's a Shadow Flame done. Yes, Zeka does have it. That's a big item spike. As Kanavi goes up into the sky, that's going to avoid a lot of this damage.
Vision
Vision
means Shiu can hit these shock blasts. I mean, he is free hitting right now with those every chance he gets. Hitting Kanavi.
Yeah, that's a big deal. The Maiden is looking a little worse for wear. Zeus gets into the back of this pit and is spotted out. Lucid moves in, looking for him. As Kanavi with those daggers comes on down. That is Showmaker locking up a little bit there. I think it was the Maiden that he just destroyed.
It's not going to hit the dragon. They're just going to slow this down, back away, try to land poke, but HLE are still very healthy. This is one of the slowest contests we've seen in a while, but she was going to clear this ward. That's actually valuable. Now he's got a nice angle here to hit a big shock blast into the back line.
The poke Victor is what they're playing with right now.
Keeps hitting Kanavi. He wants to whittle down the jungler so it's impossible for them to take the dragon. Showmaker backs and TP's back in.
Another arrow available here for Gumayusi as well. We'll see who he aims it for. As Smash is just getting lower and lower here in this fight. See whether this Ocean will be secured by Kanavi. He decides to just hold on top of Shiu, and now bounces back in. Lucid for the re-engage, looking for it as Career is delivered to the backline. They take out the Arc, they get rid of the Ashe, and Shiu is dead, but now the shockwave is massive, but it's not onto Showmaker. He still has so much damage, and Lucid still alive, but Drake as well is just going to reset.
Yeah, Drake's going to reset here. Kanavi doesn't have flash, but can't get over this wall. They look for the scuttle first.
Yeah, Delight has to be so careful.
Zeka, I mean, he's low on mana. I don't know if they should necessarily look for a contest here. I mean, this is just one Ocean Dragon for DPLUS if they get it.
Kanavi's going to move over. It's a 3 versus 3. Teleport to bring Smash in as soon as he comes back up and say it's exactly the same thing.
And
Shiu as well. Okay, so now Kanavi is going to move forward. Career might just be straight up dead, and yeah, there he goes. The Drake is going to get denied, but Kanavi is now looking for the fight. Lucid dives on top of him. Kanavi's running away from his team, but he's doing so much work here. Showmaker doesn't find the death ray, and the teleports are now raining through. Flash over the wall, and Kanavi is still alive.
Smash misses the Q, and now they have to deal with this Yorick.
Oh, well, there's super speed Shiu making his way over. The arrow is not going to quite find Smash there. And DPLUS, I think they're going to be able to back away. Man, that was so intense.
But DPLUS played it so carefully, so defensively. I'm surprised Smash didn't flash the ult from Zeka, by the way. That's one of the crazier parts of this play is Shiu, it's the ult, or sorry, the jump out of Kanavi, which is practically an ult. Then he goes in, and Lucid sees his opportunity for a massive cycle. They go on to Gumayushi here, get the taunt, get his cleanse here. He's taken out, but on the other side of the fight, Shiu is a frontlining Jace, so he's burst down. And then here, I guess he's just too, yeah, he's just too far in the center of it.
Yeah, he just, I think maybe didn't even react in time, unfortunately, and he also just disappeared from the initial damage.
He died so fast. And then they play this really slow. They know that they have the TP advantage on their 80 carries, so the Mel is going to come in here. If Mel hits this Q, Kanavi just dies instantly, as we're still fighting, by the way.
Yep, another one as Zayas picks up item number 2. Pretty scary on this Yorick. Sphere of Surgeon now done. But Shiu does have 3, and having a Serpent's Fang is... Oh, God! Okay, Gumayushi's just dead.
Shiu hits him with the Shock Blast. That's enough to press R and take this Ashe off the map for a second time. Now, maybe this double mage comp could do a Baron somehow, but I'm not so sure.
I mean, there is at least... Oh, no, yeah, I'm a bit worried as well.
Like, maybe they could do it. I don't think
Shiu
so.
Can maybe do some hitting it.
It's Jace, Victor, Mel. And it's Victor with the rocket belt.
All right, Delight might be in a little bit of trouble here because Lucid is looking for him. Zayas over the wall. There's the Arcane Storm. The flash comes through, though. Lucid looks to get on top of him. There's the Ghoulie Wall, but who's trapped in where with who? As Zayas will be able to get himself out. Lucid does have that battle with that wall that we were talking about.
Oh, no,
Here going in. I'm not sure about that one as Kanavi goes up into the sky. These health bars are low, but finally, everyone's back onto the rift.
These incredibly slow fights without Guma's damage, HLE are like, well, you guys don't have that much damage, but we're gonna stick around and make it interesting. But DPLUS had to be so careful about how they play. So watch this. Guma gets rooted, rebuttal damage, shock blast, dead. You can't get rooted there, or you're just gonna die. And he just didn't have vision and didn't expect that to happen. Smash was waiting for him.
Control of mid-wave is pretty powerful, and DPLUS playing well around it. They have a 100 gold lead at 27.5 minutes. That is utterly meaningless. This is an incredibly even game.
Ocean Soul Point, also relatively meaningless.
Yeah, it's not the most important. That being said, when you're against this composition that does have double mage, maybe having the Ocean Soul is kind of important given the fact that their consistent damage isn't exactly the highest.
Consider how much,
but they do have a lot of bursts.
These fights have lasted like 3 years, so I guess there's a little bit of extra value in that as well. Death cap is done for Smash, right? We have some of these really big core items completed. Showmaker doesn't have his 3rd just yet, but again, neither team wants to start Baron. It's just too risky. It's too volatile. There's a lot of damage for these artillery mages on the outside, as Showmaker can, on the right side of Baron, on red side here, basically function as one as they stand in the pit, and Smash has such long range, so they don't want to mess around with that. DPLUS, like we've mentioned several times, don't have the damage start themselves, so we're kind of just doing a vision dance here as we wait for the next dragon, which could be another super long exchange, super long fight. Kanavi, the most aggressive he can be right now is to try to contest a blue buff, and he thinks better of it and walks away. There's no vision on Baron itself right now, but there's so much vision around the entry points for both sides.
Yeah, I think DPLUS do need to be a little bit careful because they don't have actually vision in the pit. But you can see that control ward, so they can actually get there if they do want to put something down. Smash now just trying to hold the fort here in mid. 45 seconds on that dragon. We're going to be doing this dance once again, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't like it because it makes me very stressed out.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried as well. I'm not going to lie. It's all right. There is Gumayusi getting engaged on again. The snare doesn't land, though. Command Protect is so massive at this stage.
Shiyu's just getting this turret. Oh. He's got a lot of pushing power right now, alone against this turret, so he's going to pick up a bunch of money. He has TP as well. Zeus does too to follow, but he has all the tempo at this moment in time, as the poke is just not hitting really here for HLE without a Jace. There's a little bit.
Yeah, so there's something. And now that this death cap is done, Smash is pretty frightening, but look at all this vision for HLE. It's pretty dark. DK moving on over and walking into this poke when they are actually forced to be in range. It is so scary.
TP for Zeus, so he'll lose his shield. Shiu gets his Soreldas and actually is going to be able to walk his way over. Actually, TP the short one.
Yeah,
I tell a lie.
So they do have a control ward in the back of this Dragon Pit. Let's see whether Lucer can get another steal, or whether they're just going to look for the fight. There is the engage! Cyclone comes in, they try to get out of the Encore, but it doesn't quite work as Korea gets into that backline. Lucid wanting to deal with this Dragon first, and he will be able to secure it, but Korea should be going down, and HLE, they just turn the fight onto DPLUS. They lose 2, but they at least deny the soul.
All right, well, let's see if they can actually deny this Baron, because Shiu right now is trying to land some poke. Kanavi.
Oh, there's the flash in rebuttal. Doesn't really do much of anything at all as the ulti comes down. Kanavi's almost dead, but he survives, and that should mean Baron over to HLE.
Yeah, I mean, Shiu is just going to have to look on. He's not going to be able to hurt anybody. Even with that big amount of damage going on to Kanavi, he's healing up so quickly. Even he is not really under threat. And Zeus is just going straight back to the wave. He wants to set this up for that Baron, and Shiu needs to be careful because Zek is here as well.
Shockwave is avoided. But the dissonance, man, does a third of his health by these command attacks as well. This guy is so fed on the Orianna. And now the ghouls are being called. The flash out finally from Shiu does come in. But there is Baron. There goes the inner turret. And a lot of control now for HLE.
Showmaker is pushing bottom right now. I thought they were going to stick around to try to force him to TP, but there's just nothing to take there. So we're going to go all the way back to this fight here. Now watch the charm from Delight as they try to go in. Lucid's got the shield on him as he goes over first, and it's triple charm, including on the Smash. And that buys a ton of time. Smash isn't able to do anything here. And Guma's free hitting. Lucid gets in and gets the steal, but then he's collapsed on, and the rest of DPLUS just have to back away. They just don't have the damage. They don't have the straight-up team fight with the Jace on that flank. Smash gets flashed on here by Kanavi, thinking that he had an angle there after the Kanavi had used the jump. But Kanavi has enough damage here to take him out, and then you see Orion run over and drop a shield on him. Zeka's like, just to let you know, I was there for you in spirit, and I do think you deserve that shield.
Yeah, you got this one, buddy. 16 stacks on his Magi's as well. Zeka is a huge problem here in this game. All right, there goes Kanavi. He's very dead, ladies and gentlemen. Blink and you miss it.
And it's a Cyclone used for that, so not that expensive for DPLUS, considering there's nothing up. And it does mean that they stop the Baron. So yes, you don't have Cyclone to flank and try to stop this Baron push, but the fact that they got Kanavi alone was enough. HLE have been tested in this game, I think, in a really interesting way, right? Because it's a patience test, because DPLUS have just been camping, they've been farming, they've been sitting back, and I don't think this hits.
Yes, it does!
God.
It's Gumayusi, baby. And now Zeka is going to look for the angle. Shiu bounces on top of him. There's the Stands United, but Shiu is still in so much trouble. Does get the Encore down, and that is going to hold him in place for long enough. Korea regrets his decisions. And that is 2 for the Kanavi death that happened prior.
The commit career to this play. The rest of HLE was heading up there. You've got enough vision to know that, I think. And now 2 are dead, and that might just be the game. They still have Baron for 50 seconds.
I mean, there is a fair bit of wave clear, but yeah, you're right. This is going to be a rough one.
It's
I don't
so
think
much
they win the
damage
game,
to
but they at least take this inhibitor and make the game so much harder for DPLUS. Smash now with his Void stuff done. I mean, that is a big spike, but the problem is their base is just kind of getting torn to shreds.
Lucid on the flank here, has his Cyclone back, so I think they should leave.
Yeah, 5 seconds on Career as well. So this is going to be the end of that push. But still, a very good one here for HANWHA as they look for this inner turret as well on their way out. Showmaker hits level 16. That is, you know, getting the extra level in your Arcane Storm going to be very powerful, but Minute and a half on this Dragon. That is another opportunity for Seoul.
This is such a scary game for HLE fans because you know that their whole tendency is to just all in, go in. But DPLUS are playing so defensively that, Kavi got caught that one time. But otherwise, you have to just play it slow. You have to play around Ashe. You have to play the slow game. You got to play through sides and macro. As I cannot believe this hit, he used his acceleration gate, wasn't able to still speed his way out of there. I don't think he stood in it necessarily. Then goes into a Zeka that has Spell Shield, and also then Career just gives a free charm.
So close. That's so far.
But even if they kill Zeka, they're still going to die there. It's going to be a 1 for 2, and they have Baron, so it was always a risky call, but tried to make the most of it. Zeka has his Banshee's Veil now completed, so it can eat Shock Blasts and feel okay. But HLE have been patient enough, I think, throughout this game, and they have a big enough lead now to where they could just look for one more objective fight to end it. But it's, again, if you're an HLE fan, these games have been lost. There have been some overextensions, and DPLUS are still in it. They're playing so carefully. I think many other Legend Group teams would have just died here by now.
Not going for too many of these all-in Hail Marys. Trying to find fights on their own terms as Gravity Field does go down. Showmaker still looking for these Death Rays, looking for this poke damage. But HLE can also just play away from the Drake. They know that DK, they really need to try and deny this. But HLE, they can play elsewhere. Still, they're going to be grouping up for the fight. As we can see here, Lucid pulling out the Dragon. Career
on a flank.
Seen on that control ward. Kanavi going on over just to get rid of the Shen. They can burst this one down pretty quickly, actually, as there is the Lucid approach. Gumayushi just going to pop like a balloon. Smash able to get the ulti off, and Career gets on in there. Smash able to flash away and says it's taken down. Smash survives, and they just wipe them out. Zeka is still alive here, but another soul is denied.
Career pulls Kanavi around there, is able to get back into the fight, and has the taunt after the Cyclone setup there. Showmaker drops the Gravity Field, and it's a sick combo post Gumayushi's death. And HLE just get routed. 3 on the floor here. Zeka still has ult. He's going to use it to clear this wave, but another wave is coming right in, and this turret is not long for this world. It falls basically instantly here. He's got 20 stacks of Magi, so it's a good thing he doesn't die. But watch this engage on the Guma. He steps forward just one step too far, and even though the charm is used here defensively, it's not good enough. Smash is going to get focused down here, but he gets the shield, flashes away. Taunt was huge. Showmaker escapes, and they get a triple on the Mel, who has Death Cap at ready. 3,000 gold ahead of the Gumayushi they just killed at the beginning of that fight, but the follow-up was brilliant as well, and HLE were just not ready for that, and Guma steps just that one bit too far forward. He's like, oh, Lucid surely is just focusing on the Dragon. No!
Look at Showmaker, man! He's 3.5k behind, and he just built a Magi!
When Showmaker builds a Magi, that's when he thinks the game is over.
Yeah,
and it's not, but
they have a 200 gold lead. Oh my lord. In fact, they don't have a gold lead at all. This is so incredibly close here in this game. Their inhibitor is still down for another minute as they look towards this Baron. At least it's a topside inhibitor, so they can play towards it and still have a bit of control around this Baron area.
Guma has Flash. I don't think it's likely he'll get caught the same way again. Lucid also doesn't have his. Warrior's Trickster can be quite a valuable tool. They're missing big flashes though. Showmaker and Smash flashing in that fight to survive and carry it out. So engage opportunities for Zeka are huge. Kanavi, if he gets backline access or a flank, has so much power here. And we just have this Jace pushing the top lane right now to clear with that wave you were talking about. But he has TP, and there's no answer right now. So this inhibitor being down for 30 more seconds means virtually nothing. Is Showmaker.
There's the flash hit for Showmaker. They deliver the ball to the victor. He survives for a little bit longer as Kanavi should actually be taken down, but the charm is gorgeous. They do manage to get the doggo, and now Shiu jumps in, then jumps out. The Ghoulie Wall not exactly going to lock down the Jace for long enough, so it's a trade of 1-for-1 mid for jungle.
I guess that's a lot of damage lost here on the wave clear, and HLE are just going to try to push this down here. They have a lot of siege power in this composition. This Yorick just two-taps these turrets. Down goes the inhibitor as well, and without a Cyclone to defend, HLE know they can do this with impunity, and now just back off and get back that map control. Initially, I thought this wasn't going to be enough damage to kill Showmaker. I thought that was the wrong call. I was like, oh, Showmaker's going to live through. They're going to get the turn. They do, but he still dies. And once he's down, the push continues. They also get the Cyclone, which I know sounds like a silly thing to say because it's a Cyclone that actually turns this around and kills Kanavi. but it means that Lucid can't defend the siege anymore, which is a really big win here. I think this trade definitely favors HLE, especially with Xiu's crazy attempt there, which he canceled rapidly.
Yeah, it was pretty optimistic, let's just say that. But Gumayusi did have to fight in that last, Flash in that last fight. And Smash now has a Zhonya's completed. Zeus with his Randuin's done as well. He's getting tankier and tankier, but that's not going to help him as much into Showmaker and Smash. Deathcap almost there for Showmaker. Yeah. Sold the Magi's
now
that he went down to 2 stacks.
Yeah, sold it and is looking to try to farm just 1 or 2 more waves out to get the last bit of that Deathcap. Looks like he needs a little bit more. He's going over to mid now to look for a contest of this Baron. Guma, he has been very quiet in this game, but the game seems to be about, for DPLUS, whether or not they can kill him. If they do, they seem to win the fights, but if they're the ones making the defensive play, sometimes they can fight their way out of it, but it hasn't been very successful. Deathcap's done for Zeka.
Oh my god. This Orianna is quite strong.
Yeah, I don't know how much stronger she can really get.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for more items for Zeka right now.
He actually sold his Banshee's Veil to get that.
Okay, just swapping it out. 1 small boom boom. And if they can deliver another orb from Kanavi.
This is the last fight.
Oh, Arrow is going to interrupt Korea. Oh no! Is this how it ends? Oh, it might be. He's not going to flash. He's just going to die. And at least, I mean, that's still 50 seconds. That should be the Baron for free over to HANWHA Life Esports.
I mean, they had so much control. And now with no support here to interrupt it, it's going to be hard for a contest. Lucid has Flash. He's got Warrior's Trickster, but it's a fool's errand, I think. We'll see.
That's what it looks like. As Zeus off to the side. That is the Baron. And the flash forward from Zeus as well. Gullywall onto Xiu, and he's just taken out. Too close. And DPLUS looks like they're going out with a Whimperwolf.
Looks that way. I mean, Career's up in 20, but they don't have the chase. And he could have just walked away there and said, we're going to try to defend the siege, but was a little bit optimistic, looking for some shockwave action, and just gets completely flashed on and killed. And now, let's see if Showmaker with Deathcap in hand has enough to clear this Baron wave. I think not.
Yeah, there are a lot of minions here making their way down. Lucid gets in though, that's a triple knock-up. Does find another one as Gumayusi goes down. Still, Showmaker is dead. Lucid in a lot of trouble. Kanavi getting big shields, and Lucid does have the GA. Smash is put into the Ghoulie wall though, and now Lucid, I don't think he's going to be able to survive into Zeka's massive damage. And Smash now, the last form of damage here, up and available for DPLUS, and that's the double for Zeka. He has been a monster here in this game, and Smash is taken out. It's a triple for the Ori, and HLE will pick up the 2-0 here tonight.
And what